Governor Whitcomb, President Pruis, President Emeritus Emens, members of the Board of Trustees, members of the Pruis family, officials of the national, state, and local governments, distinguished delegates and guests, faculty members, students, alumni, and friends of Ball State University. We deeply appreciate your presence today and the opportunity for us to share in this memorable occasion in the life of Ball State University, the installation of John J. Pruis as its 7th president. Representing Ball State's near 15,000 students is Thomas Kraack, Monticello Sr., who is president of the student body. A student leader with concerns for the welfare of his fellow students, Mr. Kraack has demonstrated through his 4 years of student leadership unusual wisdom and perseverance in pursuing these goals. Last year, he was junior class president, and this past summer, he directed the Student Orientation Corps program, which helped all new freshmen and their parents become acquainted with Ball State in a personal way.
Thank you, Mr. Bracken. Honored guests, students, and faculty of Ball State. It is truly an honor to extend this welcome to Ball State to President Pruis on behalf of the students of this university. Only a year ago, Ball State's 50th anniversary was celebrated in a national conference here on emerging universities. It is altogether fitting that the leadership of Ball State in this period of emergence should be entrusted to a man as young and personable as Dr. Pruis, a man who has college-age students himself.
Thank you, Mr. Bracken. President Pruis, visiting dignitaries, and members and friends of the Ball State family, I bring you salutations and the very best of good wishes from Ball State's 30,000 plus alumni. It is a great honor for me today to represent Ball State alumni who I am sure share my enthusiasm for this occasion. Such historical occasions as this one come but seldom for institutions like ours. So I would like to take this particular opportunity to make some observations and some commitments to you, President Pruis, on behalf of our alumni body. Most causes prosper best when there is a tie across the generations.
Dr. John J. Pruis, at this time of moral crisis in our universities, the faculty is honored to have you accept an invitation to be president of Ball State. Ralph Himstead, a former president of the American Association of University Professors, once said that a college professor was someone who thinks otherwise. The faculty who will test your patience welcomes you, and the state that will under-support you welcomes you. And the students who will challenge your capacities welcomes you. With such friends, you have no need for enemies.
And so in that lofty spirit, I bring you, President Pruis, greetings on behalf of your colleagues in the Indiana Conference of Higher Education. We join you in this colorful and thrilling ceremony to wish you well in your leadership of this highly respected university. But even larger significance, we meet with you to renew our deep belief in the fundamental purposes of education. We meet with you to restate our belief in the essential relationship between those purposes and the maintenance of a free society. And we meet with you to reaffirm our conviction that the cultivation of the human intellect is man's finest expression of humanity. Ball State University and you, President Pruis, have our felicitations and warm good wishes.
Thank you. College and university presidents, delegates, faculty members, students and alumni of Ball State, and friends. It's a great pleasure for me to be here to welcome President Pruis to participate in this inauguration ceremony. I want to tell all of you, I want to tell you, Dr. Hannaford, I want to tell you that the state of Indiana is very much aware of the needs for education, the needs for money in this state. I want to tell all of you that this administration has seen the amount to be spent for education during these next 2 years increased by 16% over the past 2 years. We want to see much greater increases. I'm happy to state, President Pruis, that we are working on a program by which we expect to provide for the first time in the state of Indiana some $50 million for student scholarships and student loans, which we feel will be very helpful in meeting the responsibilities of this state in education. I am deeply aware that the success of this administration, the success and the future of the state of Indiana depends upon quality education in the state of Indiana. And I repeat my pledge to do everything to promote that effort in this state. Dr. Pruis comes to Ball State University succeeding one of Indiana's outstanding educators, President Emeritus Emens. We salute him for the work he has done, and on behalf of the people of this great state, it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. John J. Pruis as president of Ball State University. Thank you.
That's the night he is gone.
George Stevens. Miss Ballard is from Marion, Mr. Stevens from Plymouth. On my left, Mr. Floyd Hines from Connersville, and Richard Wells, the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, ex officio, a member of our Board of Trustees. Now, our gathering here today to install a new president, John J. Pruis. As president of the Board of Trustees of Ball State University, I have the honor to invest you with the title and with the office of president of Ball State University, with the sure knowledge that you will fulfill the obligations of this office to the best of your ability. As a symbol of your office, President Emeritus John R. Emens will present the Presidential Medallion.
Thank you, Mr. Bracken. It's a very distinct honor to be invited as the representative of the Board of Trustees and the faculty and administration, the student body, the alumni, and all the friends and supporters of Ball State University to make this presentation. President John J. Pruis, let me assure you that I am most happy and pleased to place this medallion symbolizing all the honors and the privileges and the responsibilities that are yours as the 7th president of Ball State University. You will wear the medallion with pride on all appropriate occasions, and that you will bring to the institution which you now serve honor and distinction. And to you and to Angie, Aline and I extend our hearty congratulations and our sincere best wishes.
Thank you, Jack.
7th president of Ball State University, Dr. Pruis.
With great pride in the opportunity and with great and deep humility in the realization of the responsibility, I accept the office formally conferred upon me this day. All of you honor this institution by your presence, and we thank you. Governor Whitcomb, Chairman Bracken, and the others have already insured against this by their words, and I shall attempt to do the same. The formal inauguration of any president of any organization or institution provides a natural opportunity to look ahead to that which must be and that which might be. These I have chosen to call imperatives and opportunities. Our first imperative is common to all institutions in society. It is easily and frequently spoken. We even address ourselves to it with some degree of regularity, though perhaps too wearisomely or perfunctorily all too often. And yet, it serves as the cornerstone of every future. It is simply a sense of mission. It is my hope that we will carefully examine ourselves and resolve to focus our efforts on those elements of ignorance and incomplete knowledge, those elements of unfulfilled promise, those elements of potential for good, which we are uniquely qualified to explore and in which we have genuine interest. This will then permit us to marshal our talents and our resources for specific and attainable purposes. The student who comes to us will thus know that we are addressing ourselves to certain goals, and that he can expect to find opportunity here to pursue his own interests within this framework, under the guidance of a faculty and staff dedicated to certain propositions. Growing directly out of a sense of mission is a second imperative. Recognition of the environment in which we live and the university's role in that environment. All of this becomes the more significant when we realize that it is knowledge that serves as the chief source of power today,
in contrast to land and capital in bygone years. The research and development sections of the giants and the midgets in both business and industry, the brain trusts in government, the advisory councils in our social agencies, the computer services which are being utilized by nearly every organization, and the incredible increase in the percentage of our citizenry engaged in some form of formal education all attest to this fact. Yet the question which must be asked is, have the university and its sponsors, both public and private, really recognized this new and central role of knowledge in our environment? I fear the answer is no, or at least not enough. President James Dixon of Antioch College, in reacting to this statement, spoke volumes when he said, "We are full of the tragedy of not hearing. We need somehow to loosen up on our models of education in relationship to ourselves and the world to get room enough to be human." Do we listen to anyone but ourselves? And if we do try to listen, do we genuinely seek to understand? Or do we dismiss all other voices as unsophisticated or even pernicious rumblings of the uninformed and the obstructionist or the destructionist? This brings us to a third imperative: intellectual independence for all. Dostoevsky stated what he called the eternal question. What do you believe, or don't you believe at all? It is the contention of many students today, if I hear them accurately, that they are not required, let alone encouraged, to answer this essential question. Rather, they say, they are required in their classes to respond in prescribed ways if they hope to gain the blessing of the instructor, and that, of course, is in the form of an acceptable grade. The last imperative which I wish to place before us is at once the simplest and the most complex. It is not new, but it is painfully obvious that we have yet to recognize its importance, or that we have yet to find within ourselves the willingness to live with its realization. And that is the need to believe in and to live as the family of man. It is imperative that the university be concerned with what is now being called personhood. We speak in our publications and in our utterances of personalized attention, interest in the individual, and a host of other intentions to recognize each and every person as a human being. Yet we at times, both in the university and in society, go about our tasks from day to day as if we alone, ourselves individually, exist. Once more, we are full of the tragedy of not hearing. The violence which fills our world is the direct result. All too frequently, we struggle to defend the existing pattern of the university life rather than to admit to its possible inadequacies and to set about to develop more satisfactory ways of educating our students and conducting our institutional lives and work. The eminent philosopher Pogo was nothing short of profound when he observed, "I have seen the enemy, and he is us." In the final analysis, we are judged by our results and not by our ways. If we choose to do so, we can try new methods, provided only that we satisfy ourselves and the academic community of which we are a part, that the changes we propose give promise of enabling us to achieve our goals more satisfactorily. We are able to demonstrate that we can deal with our own problems intelligently and constructively. I am certain that another significant opportunity is ours, namely, the maintaining of our autonomy and our distinctiveness. Clark Kerr recently noted, "It is the best of times and the worst of times for higher education, and each could not be without the other. It is a season of success, and it is also a season of despair, and they are the same season. There are those who would seek to rule us from outside the university. This must not be allowed to happen, for it would destroy the university as we know it and have known it, as it serves and has served. Through high standards of purpose and self-expectation, and through rigorous effort to live up to these standards, we can continue to be a place where the pursuit of truth and the advancement of learning can exist without domination by outside influences. In these remarks, I realize that questions have been raised at least as often as answers have been suggested, but that is proper in a university setting. Our main task is not to proclaim what we conceive to be the correct answers. Rather, we must always strive to ask the right questions, thereby leading ourselves and others to increasingly better answers. And each of us must decide for himself how he will approach his tasks. For myself, I shall strive to follow the admonition of the prophet Micah, who, in response to the question, "And what does the Lord require of thee?" answered, "To love mercy, to do justly, and to walk humbly with thy God." May each of us be rededicated this day to his own credo. It will strengthen not only ourselves, but our university.